I put in the substitute, but I ended up having to teach the whole year. That generation of people, like the type of shit that they was going through, grown ass people dealing with shit that I had no idea about. I had a student get murdered in front of the school. It was a different experience.
All right, welcome to Life Untold podcast for another episode. And today we have a very notorious person known around Mississippi. We got Mr. Nicholas Walker. How you doing today, bro?
I'm pretty good, man. Blessed, man. It's a blessing to be on your platform, and very much so looking forward to it. So yeah, man, let's get it.
Oh yeah, man. And I want to start off by just giving you a shout out, man. Definitely been following your podcast, Verbal Intercourse, for quite a few years. I like what you're doing, with the platform. So definitely kudos to you. You were definitely one of the reasons why I went on and been wanting to do this for a while, but the reason why I clicked play on that thing and said, hey, let me just hit that record button. So,
Oh yeah, man. Hey,
but
look, hey, I enjoy watching what you doing, man. You growing at a really great rate, and I enjoy the content you putting out. So yeah, peace and blessings to you, dog.
oh yeah. So as we get started, bro, tell us a little bit about Nick.
For people that don't know me, full name Nicholas Walker, married with a son. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I graduated from Jackson State University. Then I graduated from the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Just for hobbies, enjoy sports, enjoy hanging out with friends, family. I done got into playing tennis a lot lately. I'm still hooping, still exercising and all that type of stuff, so I stay active. And also I'm the host of Verbal Intercourse podcast, as well as I'm trying to build that platform up, the Black Bookshelf podcast, which is a book review TikTok page and a YouTube page that I need to start building up to grow. So that's me in a nutshell or whatever.
Okay. And I'm going to bring it back a little bit. So you're originally from Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah. So what was life like for you growing up in Mississippi? I mean, we could talk to a million people out there in the world, but for Nick, what was that like?
Growing up in Mississippi, life is slow. So you kind of get to know people, really get to know them. I have friends that I literally went to preschool with, and we still friends to this day. If you go to a bigger area, bigger state, bigger city, bigger metro area, you might see this person and they might disappear for years and years. Mississippi really not like that. It's kind of it's kind of just like, okay, I saw you from high school to college to an adult. Oh, you married now. Oh, okay, cool. I know your husband. I know your wife. I literally the 6 degrees of separation is not really a thing here. I actually still see you all the time. So that's kind of what life is like. It's slow. Some of the nicest people in the world are from Mississippi, just due to our humble upbringings. It's definitely an experience. I've lived in Virginia before, and I visited a lot of different places frequently, and you never get that type of hospitality, as well as deep South, deeply rooted culture than you can get from Mississippi.
And I was gonna ask that as soon as you said that the Southern hospitality, man. Being a person that have lived in Virginia and now you're back in the Mississippi area, after being in a place like that where there's so many different cultures, do you truly now believe in Southern hospitality?
Yeah, I do, because a lot of the people up there felt like I was like the nicest person in the world. And if I come down here, people would be like, oh, he an asshole. But I'm not really an asshole. I just like making jokes. Like, look, I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'll support you, all that type of stuff. I have good energy being around people, but I do say funny shit. That's just me. So when I lived in Virginia, people literally thought I was like the nicest person. And that was crazy to me, because I had never heard, Nick, you're so nice. I've never heard that before. It's definitely a different experience living down here than other places.
Okay. So So talk to me a little bit about growing up, family environment. What were parents like in those formative years? We were talking that like that early age where were both parents in the household, or was it single parent household, or what?
Yeah, I grew up with both of my parents, and they're still married to this day. I think they've been married for 42 years. Yeah, it's like 42, 41, somewhere around there. I grew up with both of them in a two-story house. I actually lived in Madison, but I went to JPS schools. I grew up in like a suburban area. I never fronted. Like even growing up, I never tried to act like I was like some type of hard ass that grew up in poverty stricken areas. Back then, North Jackson really wasn't poverty stricken. It was actually probably the richer side of Jackson, that area. But
Mm-hmm.
I've never been the person to stick out my chest. Oh, I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood. I was actually pretty intelligent enough to be like, I didn't want to be from those areas.
Yeah.
I enjoyed growing up in my house because both of my parents were very much hardworking. My mother worked for the federal government. My dad was a UPS truck driver, and he also did like 25 years in the military. You know, I grew up with discipline, learning how to work hard. I didn't grow up spoiled, even though I grew up in that type of environment. They showed me I had to work hard for whatever I was gonna get. Work hard if they was gonna give me anything too. So you know, it wasn't it. I didn't grow up in that silver spoon type of situation. You know.
You said your dad and your mom worked for the government. Your dad, 25 years in the military. And first of all, when you see him, tell him, hey, he don't know me, but thank you for paving the way. I say any person of color that had to serve in the military paved the way for people like me and other people to be able to join. So I definitely shout out to him, and then shout out to your mom as well, because as a person now working for the federal government, it's no easy task dealing with ever changing rules, regulations, and stuff like that. So with that discipline coming, a lot of people knew you growing
Mhm.
up for playing basketball. So when you were playing basketball, do you remember the first time that you picked up a basketball?
I won't say I remember the first time I picked up a ball, but I definitely remember the really early years, being about 3 or 4, playing on Fisher Price, which is what every child pretty much start off playing on. I remember my first basketball game at the YMCA. I remember becoming really good there, and then going. My dad was like, oh, "Okay, you better than these kids here. Let's put you in the hood." And who
Yeah.
I started hooping for a team in Mega Evers Gym over off of Mega Evers in Verdundition. And so that's where I really, really learned how to play the game, because I went over there, got my ass kicked until I was good enough to be one of the people that was respectable. And so by the time I got to Chastain, I had played quite a bit of basketball. I was very seasoned, and basketball, one of those games, just like a lot of things, the more you play, the more it becomes more of a natural instinct. You don't have to think about things, you
Mhm.
just do it. And so by the time I was like in the ninth grade, I was like top 10 in the state in my class. And when I graduated, I was like all district, all state tournament team, stuff like that. Basketball was always like me instinctively in my spirit throughout life. That's how I look at life. Like any sport, you take it for granted and how much the metaphor of sports literally is life, but it really is peaks and valleys, momentum, no momentum. It's literally it's
Facts.
literally life. It's sports. So
It is.
instinctively living life, I always look at it like your one basketball game. So yeah, most definitely.
So as you're coming up, you said you were seasoned in the game. You was able to learn from taking them L's so
Mhm.
that you be able to take them dubs later in your career, starting in middle school, high school. So when we talk about the teen years of Nicholas
Yeah.
Walker, how would you describe yourself being in that teenage form going into high school? Were you still the same person?
I don't think I've ever really changed, to be honest. It's
Mhm.
interesting because like a lot of my friends that I met in preschool, They literally are my friends now. Like they was in my wedding. Like they mama is like my mom. I don't think I've never changed. Like even in middle school, I was striving to hoop, striving to be a great student. High school did the same thing. College did the same thing. You mature, you go through different life experiences. But if you had asked middle school Nick, um, what I would be right now, but what would you see yourself at like 30 in like 20 years? Well, I would have probably said something similar to, kind of what I am now. Maybe a little bit, it'll probably be a little bit more extravagant, as if a
Yeah.
13-year-old was talking, but
Yeah.
it ain't too much different. I knew I was going to be a doctor of some sort, whether it been in, physical therapy or medicine. I knew I was going to be working in some science related because that's all that really interests me growing up, science stuff. So, and even back then, as far as like my ability to understand society, culture, to understand the environment before it became popular to be, I would say, quote unquote, woke. Like I was already
Mm-hmm.
reading about Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman. I had a picture of Harriet Tubman on my wall in elementary. Like so it wasn't too big of a difference from now. You just grow, you get mature, you get more seasoned in your interactions with people. And you
Yeah.
get more confident within yourself without coming off as a arrogant asshole or something. You just get more confident in yourself and who you are and your boundaries and understanding yourself.
So you said something very powerful that you have been reading and knowing about the different figures that we have in our culture and our history. So have you always been interested in that stuff? Like a, because I remember I use myself as example. I mean, I used to be in history class or growing up, and my mom be like, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King. Obviously, the big
Uh,
figures, but if you would have asked me, I didn't really think about those things growing up. Was that something that Nick was like always passionate about and always like intrigued about?
yeah, I was always passionate about Black history,
Mm,
understanding society, because even in like the first, second grade, I think the first book that really gave me a perspective, I was reading Ghost of Mississippi, which is a book that a second grade shouldn't be reading.
yeah.
If you've never been to Mississippi, which maybe a lot of your platform and a lot of the people that follow your platform haven't, Ghost of Mississippi is about the retrial of Byron De La Beckwith getting tried for the murder of Medgar Evers. And it was a movie. If you don't like to read, it's a movie called the same thing. My dad and my mother, they didn't shy away from buying me books, even if it wasn't for my age group, because I think in the second grade, when we did like reading tests, I had like a 12th grade reading level in like the second grade because I was reading adult books. And I've always been wanting to understand Black history because it was deep. It was deeply rooted in me. My mother, I said she worked for the government. Well, she was a mediator for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. So to me, she was like a hero because in
Mhm.
from my perspective, and that's the thing, I don't know specifically what she did, but she was a mediator. But I do know she was fighting for justice, regardless of race, sex, um, religious beliefs, whatever. And so,
Yeah.
being in Mississippi, I think it was imperative that you kind of understand because it's like we the deepest of the deepest south, and
Yeah.
it's blatant all around this culture as well, around this environment. It's blatant that you need to understand where you come from, what you about, how many kings and queens that we had through. We got the people, we got some of the people that was the first to do any of this stuff. And so for
Yeah.
kids to not know that, it's a big deal. So it gave me a sense of pride because it made me want to work hard in school because they had died and literally fought for that shit. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I feel like it's important for people to kind of understand where not just where your family come from, but where your color, where your people come from.
Yeah. And I'm 100% with you on that, because when you really think about a lot of the stuff in history, a lot of the stuff that people read about in these history books, a lot of it comes from the South. A lot of it comes from that Mississippi, going into some parts of Alabama, Louisiana, but a lot of it is just rooted in Mississippi. I remember one time they were saying Mississippi was like ranked like last in education, I think, when we were going through
Yep.
school, and it was just crazy because it's like what you expect from a culture that's been like ravaged and pushed so far behind in history. They're gonna be behind and stuff, but I see it rose a lot now. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff, like you said, everybody waking up and understanding it. So, but we pull it forward just a little bit, where you real modest when you say that you played basketball, you were, ranked in the state, but you were ranked very high in the state. Being a star point guard at one of the 5A schools in the state of Mississippi is no easy task. So what was that like? We all see on TV, hey, look, star basketball player on movies, got the ladies, got the friends. What was it like? Is it really like that for a star basketball player with all that attention, or was it kind of just like, hey, I go play my game, I go to school, and ain't nothing different?
Well, I kind of feel like it wasn't nothing different because I feel like now it might be a little different because you got the social media and stuff like that, but we didn't have that. So it was like it was cool, but for the most part, I didn't really mix basketball with like other stuff. So I didn't get a girlfriend until after senior year basketball was over. It really wasn't that big of a deal. I played to compete. I really didn't play to be known or whatever. Like, and I really imagined that a lot of me was just I talked to the few people that I talked to, but I wasn't really everybody knew me, everybody fooled with me, and I was cool with everybody, but it wasn't like the movies or stuff like that. Now, maybe if I was like rated nationally, it might have been different. Like maybe Monte could tell you something or maybe somebody like that. And also if you go to like a bigger state where football or basketball is king, it's probably hella
Mm-hmm.
different. Down south, football is like king. You have a few come in the city or the state every now and then that everybody will gravitate to. Like during our era, it was Monte. The era after that, a lot of people gravitated towards Malik
Mm-hmm.
Newman. Devin Booker, when he played at Moss Point, a lot of people gravitated towards him. So, but to be real, Mississippi is strictly football. It's strict. I
It
guarantee
is.
you, a quarterback, a Madison Central or a Germantown or whatever, Starkville High School somewhere. These guys are like already got NIL deals. They got thousands of people at
Yeah.
their door every day. Posters all around this little old Mississippi town, and yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
big deal. Basketball ain't king here. It's football.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things I always see is during our time, like you said, Monte had Jay
Jay Wise.
Wise. I think Al Jefferson was a little bit before that, but Devin Booker.
But that's the thing though, like I hoop with Jay Wise, and Jay Wise definitely was a big deal. But even him, some nights it wasn't like he was playing in front of a sold out crowd every night. It wasn't
Yeah.
like he was walking through the building and everybody was just like, "Oh shit, Jay Wise."
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody might roast him as soon as he walk in the building. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it was different for somebody like Al Jefferson though. But
Yeah.
even
Out
then,
there in Prentice, man.
yeah, he was special.
Yeah.
But even then, he went to Prentice High School. So it can't be
Yeah.
like, oh, like man, Big
Can't be
Al.
that.
You,
Yeah.
you go to a 2A school. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. And then it's crazy because they blow up so quick. And that's why I like what you're doing with your platform, and people doing, bringing that attention to all of these people that have the talent, because Mississippi really don't get noticed for the stuff that they should be getting noticed for. And I think that's a big deal to be able to put people on a platform and be able to say, hey, look at this. Because I guarantee putting you in another state, putting Jay Wise in another state, putting, I think back at the time, there was a guy named Red,
yeah,
a guy named Jabari
yeah.
Moffitt, all of them, put them in a different state with that same
Hmm.
level of media that they
Yeah,
got. I think their lives would have been a different trajectory.
or a
You know what I
different
mean?
county. Like You could have
Yeah,
go to Madison.
yeah,
You
big
you go
facts.
to Madison. You got your game on the radio station. I definitely get what you're saying for sure. Like, because
Oh
if you
yeah,
hoop in Texas, if you a big deal in Texas, is a big state. They got colleges everywhere.
yeah. Have you seen some of the facilities out there in
Oh yeah, no
Texas?
doubt.
Man,
I done went
man,
to
it's
Dallas a
crazy.
bunch of times. And yeah, they definitely got a lot of different types of facilities for kids to train at. Even here now, I mean, my senior year,
Yeah,
the NBA was just opening up, but now you got places here now, even in Mississippi, where you got a lot of kids getting trained to play, and it's a
yeah.
different type of ball game. So
Oh yeah.
I like that. I like to see that.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I went out to a facility in Texas, man. Their high school facility was probably bigger than Murrow and the NBA put
Right.
together. I was like, golly, it's like this is what they doing. I mean, they got full food court in a high school, and they're like, yo, this catered to the season that we did last year. Was able to do $3.5 million food court for the students.
That's crazy.
Like that what we
Right.
doing? 2 meals every week is
Man, that's
free
right.
at Chick-fil-A and Subway. I'm like, this is
And
wild
then
work.
kids won't even go outside and play these days. It's crazy. Like they
Yeah,
missing
yeah,
the hunger, you know.
yeah. So when we look back at that, we know that you said we know you graduated at the top of your class in high school. So coming up with basketball and coming up with your professionalism when it comes to educational point, how were scholarships for you being a great basketball player, having the grades to go with it? Were the scholarships lining up? Were there many colleges coming at you? Or, once again, is it what everybody thinks when they think, hey, this star player should have the colleges lining up at damn near at his feet?
Oh, to put things in perspective, I was a 5'9" point guard. So a lot of even though I played against a lot of great players and I played well against a lot of great players, a lot of big colleges weren't gonna line up strictly off of my size alone. So, but I did have small offers to like, D3. But the thing is back then, these programs didn't have full scholarships. So so
Yeah,
I was like, I might as well go to school for educate, just get my degree with a full scholarship because really I had the academics enough to get scholarships in academics. Everybody didn't have that ability to make a choice. I could have went the JUCO route and then played after the JUCO. I could have went to Jackson State and probably walked on and ended up playing a lot because I mean, it was guys that was playing at Jackson State that I used to bust their ass in the Walter Payton Center. I could have kept playing. I think a lot of the reason why I didn't end up playing is back then I wasn't. I was still you still at that age you still trying to get to know yourself. So you listening to your parents. You're not necessarily listening to your inner self. Also,
mm-hmm.
you trying to really navigate decision making. That's your real first big decision. You ain't going to college is a big decision, regardless if you playing a sport or not. Like where to go to school,
Yeah,
what I'm gonna study. Am I gonna play a sport or am I gonna be a student? So I was getting interest, but I feel like the interest academically that I was getting was higher than the interest I was getting athletically. Now, if you had gave
yeah,
me maybe if I had went to JUCO 1 year and got stronger and stuff like that, I probably would have been able to at least get scholarship at like SWAC D1, something like that. Cause I was definitely good enough. It was just the fact that I never reached my peak athletically
yeah,
because I really was just growing into my body as well as growing into a better shooter, a better player. I really was. So I remember like being a sophomore in college and a coach DM me like I hadn't played in a competitive game in a whole year. A coach DM me trying to get me to transfer to their school to play. And I just was
yeah,
like, because I'm already deep into my major at this point. But I remember thinking like even though I haven't played just by watching myself play and watching how I play and feeling how I play against bigger people, like even at the Walter Payton Center, I was like, I'm a better player now than I was in high school. And I haven't played in
yeah,
the same amount of games just strictly because I was a year older, a year stronger. and stuff like that. So I would say it was real chill. It was I got caught up on the bad side of politics at Murrah High
Yeah.
School, AAU basketball. I really got caught up on the bad side of politics when it comes to a lot of stuff. Not playing AAU my junior year, that was a big reason why I didn't actually get enough attention because that was a big deal. I should have definitely played my junior year.
Now, was it something holding you back from playing during that time, or was it just something that you chose to do?
So it was like, so what happened was my sophomore year, I was playing AAU, which I had played AAU for 3 years, 8, 9, 10. Sophomore year, my AAU coach started to become really like verbally abusive, not to just me, but to everybody that played. And so I didn't feel comfortable no more playing for him. So, long story short, I stopped playing with him, which is an Adidas team. And this probably was the biggest team in Mississippi at the time because we had just won Division II national championships. So I think we was rated, the highest we was rated was like 14th in the country. Like our AAU team. Like
Mm,
we had like 8 people to go like D1 from that team. What happened, my father said he was gonna have an AAU team, so I was like, cool, I'll just be on it. But he didn't have an AAU team.
yeah.
And when you're not playing AAU, you're not your junior year, this is the first year coaches can come watch. Like legit.
Mm,
Like they can just sit there and watch all day because of
yeah.
NCAA restrictions. So ninth grade they can't come watch you. They can send you letters, but they can't watch you. And so that happened. And that was a big deal. And these aren't excuses; these are just straight up facts. Because
Oh yeah, yeah.
because
Most definitely.
what and also when I had a high school coach that didn't know how to he get players to the next level. Like he
Yeah,
he didn't because okay, you brought up Jeremy Wise. Jeremy Wise averaged like
yeah.
26, 27 a game his senior year, and he probably got recruited, but he didn't get near the amount of recruitment attention that he should have had. I done
Correct.
seen
Yeah,
Jeremy Wise play in some of the biggest AAU tournaments and ball out like Kingwood Classic. I think he dropped like 42 in a Kingwood Classic game. That right there automatically should get you, yeah,
scholarship
yeah,
off the rip. At a
big time power five level D1 schools. I've seen him play against power
yeah.
five talent and play well. But that's a red flag when you got Jeremy Wise, who ends up averaging 27 his senior year, being the best player in a whole division of high school, 5A, the biggest division at the
Yep.
time. I'm not saying he was the best player in the state at the time because Monte was living here, so he wasn't that. But he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
probably second or
yeah.
third. I think in his class you had Courtney Fields who played at Riley, who ended up playing at NC State, so he went ACC. So if the
Mm-hmm.
top 3 players in the state, one go pro out of high school, the next one go to the ACC, which was probably the best division in basketball at the time, and the third one
Yeah,
goes to USM. That don't the drop off talent wise wasn't that big.
yeah,
So for it just go to show it's just like negligence. It's like coaching malpractice. When you got guys
yeah,
that can literally play on this team that can't get big time scholarships.
yeah. Definitely can't get the look that they should be getting
Exactly.
or that they want to get. You know.
Exactly. So playing in Murrah wasn't a good idea. Not during the
Yeah,
time, even though we was winning, talented. You gotta if anybody that has children, if their child is starting to get competitive, and you think they're good enough to maybe they can get a scholarship, they got to be around coaches that actually have a pipeline, actually know how to get
yeah,
everybody looks. Forget saying, "Oh, get them a scholarship." Can you get a coach to come sit down and watch them? Like, because if you
yeah,
can do that,
yeah.
the child can only prove if he's good.
We'll perform.
Yeah, you gonna perform. So that was a legit big deal. Like it's stuff like that. Like it becomes a slippery slope. Everything combines, and next thing you know, like, think about it. If I wasn't smart enough to get academic scholarships, I could have just ended up not being where I am today. Or
Correct.
if I'm good enough and I go to a school and I can't get the academic scholarship, but I'm good enough to get the athletic scholarship, you still can make it to where I am right now. It's definitely a combination of things that have to go right.
And that's a lot of stuff that people don't think about. And I know a lot of people that's going to be watching this, they always think about, hey, it's just all about
Nah,
talent. But they don't know that it's a lot of stuff about who you know, who you can get in contact with. We've seen some of the biggest name in sports come up, and shout out to Bronny James, LeBron
right.
James out there. There were so many players that were better than Bronny when he went into the league and when he got his scholarship that were on his team or in his county. The name helped ride it. The people that Mr. LeBron James knew helped that. Now, that's great that a parent is able to pull that power. And then obviously Bronny then morphed into what we see
Uh,
now, which, hey, I'm thinking Drew Holiday style. But
oh,
ultimately, I tell people when they hear something like this, it's more than just talent. You got to be able to know that there's some stuff behind
oh
the
yeah, no
scenes.
doubt, no
So,
doubt. Every
oh
time it's
yeah.
something behind the
Oh,
scene.
oh, so then you graduate from high school, and was JSU always your go-to, or were there other colleges that you were debating and having a battle with?
Before I went to Jackson State, I didn't necessarily think about where I was going to school. I was thinking somebody gonna come around and I'm gonna end up hooping somewhere, but it didn't. So what happened was those academic opportunities weighed the athletic opportunities. Um, I got accepted into this bridge program, and it was a bridge program from high school to college, but also from college into
Mm-hmm.
graduate school. And so basically, I was going to be doing research at Jackson State, and probably I graduated from Murrah, and then about a week and a half later, I was moving on to campus at Jackson State to do research
Damn.
and to take like preliminary classes, prep classes, classes to prep you for your major.
Yeah.
So I literally moved.
So Nick didn't get no summer vacation, no
Not
nothing. Huh?
really. I mean, we had fun and we did research. We was in the lab like uh all the time doing research. I worked in a botany lab, and so we did a lot of research, culture and sales, stuff like that. So it was a fast transition, but this program, it literally kept money in my pocket while I was in college. Like
Yeah.
um for that summer, I think I got paid $2,000. That's a lot for an 18-year-old, especially during that time.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. 2000. I think the 2007 year. Hey, that's a
that's
bag.
like the most money you probably ever had. Also, every month while I'm in school, like they pay me $500 a month. So this
Yeah.
literally is like keeping money in my pocket while I'm in college. And $500 a month, like I said, that's a lot of money when you're in college. Like you can live off
Yeah.
$500 a month in college. So yeah, that was a great opportunity for me, and it built my research resume up, which was very impressive when people looking at your resume and you trying to get into different schools and stuff like that.
So I asked a lot of people that come on the podcast the same question. Growing up in Jackson, we see JSU. We know JSU is up the street. To me, like I tell people, I always was like, yeah, that's why I saw somebody get beat up at. But to me, I always assume everybody just thinks it's JSU. What was JSU like stepping on that campus for Nicholas the very first time? Was it everything you thought college would be? Or
I would say like it's kind of like a hard question for me because like my mother graduated from Jackson State, my father went to Jackson State. I had family that went to Jackson State. I literally went to kids college at Jackson State when
yeah,
I was like third, fourth grade. I went to summer programs at Jackson State. So me stepping on the campus at Jackson State was me just saying, well, like, I'm just back on Jackson State campus. Now the difference is
yeah,
now you in college, so now you have the freedom on the campus. You don't have this counselor saying, "Oh, we got to be over here at this time." You don't have this adult over here saying, "Oh, okay, I'm finna pick you up from over here. We going here." So
yeah,
I would say when you step on the campus, that first week, college student is kind of intimidating because it's your first time you around so many different people from so many different places. Even though I had been on the campus a whole lot, you still you still kind of confined to certain areas on the campus in programs. So when you go into the
Mm-hmm.
different, you like, I don't even know how to get over here. What building is this? What building is this? Getting used to hearing the band every night. That's different. Jack State Band will play till 1, 2 in the morning. Getting used to the freedom of partying, stuff like that, which I don't feel
Yeah.
like I was that big of a partier in college, but I did go out sometimes, learning how to, kind of get up on your own, be responsible for yourself, all that type of stuff. It's very important. You either got it or you don't. And that's
Yeah.
the issue with college, is it that's the thing. I tell people, if your professor see that you working hard and shit, coming to every
Yeah.
class, they'll help you out. But college is an issue for a lot of people because they used to their parents getting them up for everything, getting them here, getting them there.
Yeah.
If you don't have the discipline to just get yourself up, to study here, study there, to say, all right, I'm gonna play the game a little bit, but I'm gonna hit the library after this, or they had a discipline like, all right, I drunk last night, I ain't gonna drink for another week. You know what I'm saying? You gonna fuck up because you just there for the social aspect, and that be a lot of issue now. Not so much because more and more people are starting to realize like, hey, I don't have to go to college to end up with a career, or
Correct.
if
Yeah.
I go to college, I'm gonna end up in student loan debt. Back then, people was literally just saying, "Shit, it's the next thing I supposed to do, so I guess I'm going to college."
I definitely see that a lot. Young people going to college and they look up and they just like they just switch their major 5 times. They ain't going to classes. They're like, oh, I had one person I was talking to the other day, like, man, I ain't been in class in about a week. I'm like, bro, y'all have been in class for a week. It's the summer semester. Like, you gotta go hit that. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm like, ah, hey, kudos to you. But I know you said what drew you to there was their biology pre med
Yeah.
program. So when you started doing that, did you know that you were gonna be pushing to be a physical therapist, or did you just say, hey, this is my way into college, and I'll figure that out as it goes along?
I was thinking straight up medical doctor.
Okay.
Um, I didn't think about physical therapy probably until like senior year. But the
Okay.
challenge of biology when I first got there was that um I was in honors college at Jackson State. When you're in honors college, you take the honors courses for those actual courses, which is silly as hell because college is already hard enough. So why would you
Yeah.
pay to actually get taught the same information at a faster pace? Like,
Mm,
schools don't give a damn that you was like grad schools, professional schools, they don't give a damn that you was in honors college. It could look good, but technically they looking at your GPA. They looking at your
yeah.
GPA, they looking at how you interview, your test scores, shit like that. But like, to be real, so I'm in honors college, and like college is already hard because like I said, your head on a swivel. You just got to
Mm-hmm.
college. It's a bunch of shit that you have to learn. In every place that I've ever been in life, I'm not a fast adjuster. It takes me time.
Yeah.
So my first semester in biology pre-med, I think I went my fall semester, I think I had a 2.9, which is crazy
Mm-hmm.
because I had never had none that low, and I'm thinking about shit. I might need to change my major. I
Switch
think I'm like,
it. Need to switch it
yeah, I
up.
think, but like my mama was, I was like, shit, maybe I need to go to the Air Force or something. Like my mama was like, boy, hell nah, you just need to buckle down. So that second semester I
Yeah.
did, and I retook classes that I didn't have a good grasp on, and that helped out. I think I just needed a time to get acclimated to how to be a college student. It's I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you go to college and you don't know how to be a college student, like a legit serious college student, and you got a legit serious ass major. If you look at your college friends and they majors, okay, they majoring in this, they majoring in that. You see they having a good ass time, and they grades are great. Well, it's because they majoring in probably some shit that ain't that hard right now. But as
Yeah.
soon as you
Yeah.
hit campus with a biology pre-med, you majoring in, you taking biology, you taking chemistry, and then after you take that, you take chemistry too. Then after you take that, you take organic chemistry. And all that shit is like really make or break your career. If you don't graduate with a 3.5, I guarantee you, you ain't getting into no medical school. You ain't getting into no PT school. Shit, you might not get into nursing school. You definitely ain't getting into dentistry
Yeah.
school. Like, so you gotta like that definitely gotta be like, okay, I gotta graduate with a 3.5. I gotta do whatever it takes. But when I first got there, it was definitely a challenge. It's a challenge,
Yeah.
man.
And I look at it what you just said, and it kind of like I tell people I got this Doctor Strange syndrome where people tell me something and just start making stuff click. So I mean, with looking at it the way that y'all had to do, y'all had to make sure that y'all were heavy workload, learning all these different courses. Yeah, you had a lot of stress at that time, but when you get on the other side, it's now more lucrative. Where to, your buddies in college, they partying, they with the maybe with the fraternities, sororities, whatever it is. And now when they get out, their struggle or their drive to get a job is gonna be on the back end of it. Do you feel like that might be a good analysis of it?
I say it just depends on field. It's people that can get out of undergrad with a bachelor's and end up doing really well. I feel like
Yeah,
the more you mature and get to know yourself, the more you will probably come into your own and something will just fit like a glove, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of
yeah,
just like with biology pre-med, I kind of was kind of cultivated as a early kid to kind of more so lean towards STEM stuff. Cause I mean, if you looking back at it, a lot of our parents literally was just like, you either gonna be a doctor or a lawyer, like, and
yeah,
growing up, like my mother had her master's, and she was just basically like, if you don't get a master's or more than a master's, then you really ain't really did shit. Basically, like, anybody,
yeah.
she's like anybody could get a bachelor's degree, you know, which is a
Yeah.
crazy thing to say, but it's
It is
profound though, because if you hearing that as a child, you're gonna think that's commonplace. But in
correct,
society, that's not commonplace. You got people that literally
correct,
don't have somebody that has a bachelor's degree in their family, let alone
correct.
let alone a master's degree. And if your mother got the plaque on the wall, she got this on the wall. Your dad got a bachelor's degree, but your mother got a master's degree. But that's the thing. It ain't commonplace in a lot of families. I would say black families need to get to the point where we thinking like that. We need to be telling our
Yeah,
kids like, shit, you ain't push the family forward because you didn't get this, because those Indian families doing it, the Jewish families doing it, the white families doing it, the Asian families for sure damn doing it. So like
yeah.
they literally will be embarrassed, like you are an embarrassment to our family. Like, and it's
They
fucked
would
up.
shun you off
It's
quick.
fucked up. But
Yeah,
look at how they do shit. Look at the money
yeah.
circulating in their community. Hey, you gotta draw the
Yep.
line somewhere.
Oh yeah, and that's why at the beginning of this episode I was like, "Hey, you make sure you tell your parents thank you for
Oh
paving the
yeah.
way because discipline, knowing that your pop's 25 years, knowing that the moms work for the government, they have these degrees, that drive goes into you. We don't look at it growing up. You probably like, man, moms and dad, they fucking strict on me, man. They don't let me do nothing. They always talk about school. They always talk about this. But when we look back on it, man, they were really just setting that groundwork to be like, hey, this is the standard. And if somebody ain't never told that this is the standard, they'll think the bare minimum. We go through life, we graduate from high school, you go to college, you get the job, you do this. But ultimately, when you think about it, if you know your foundation is, hey, you go to school, but before we even get out of school, your foundation is a master
Right.
degree, if not
Right.
higher. So that's a very important thing. And that kind of pushed you. Well, you graduated from Jackson State May 2014. We know that now was a pipeline that kind of led into it. You said that you studied and you knew that you wanted to go for physical
Yeah.
therapy during your junior senior year. So, what was it like for people out there listening that might? I know quite a few people that are looking forward to this episode because I'm like, hey, he's a doctor of physical therapy. So, what was that like? Was it as challenging as a lot of people say it is, or how was it?
Man, that shit was rough. So, like,
Come
so
on.
I told you I lived in Virginia for a year. So initially, well, let's backtrack before I do that. So you graduate biology pre-med, but like how your prerequisites are to get into physical therapy school, I didn't have all of them because I had more so. I had the prerequisites for medical school, for dentistry, pharmacy audit, but I didn't have it for physical therapy. So a lot of people don't know this. I had got a conditional acceptance into UMMC for medical school while I was a
Mm-hmm.
junior in college. All I had to do was get a certain MCAT score to get into medical school at UMMC, but I couldn't get the score. And the reason why I couldn't get the score was because even though I had passed these classes, I needed a better foundation.
Mm-hmm.
JSU had did a good job, but I needed to probably take those classes again to get a better understanding of chemistry, a better understanding of
So, and not to cut you off, did it ever discourage you from college that you went back and took the same courses over?
nah, because some people can say it looks bad, but it doesn't. Most selection committees think it looks great because you went back and tried to correct some shit. They don't want a lot of people don't want perfect candidates. Like they literally don't. They
Yeah,
want people with scars. They want people who
yeah.
they've seen go through trials and tribulations. So
Mm-hmm.
and I'm telling you what I know from talking to professors that was in my program, talking to um pre-medical advisors, all type of stuff. Like they don't give a damn about that shit. They actually prefer because it's a lot of people that could come in there with a 4.0 and ain't never been through shit in life and they would suck in healthcare because they're not personable nor are they relatable. So and
Yeah,
a lot
yeah, yeah,
about patient care is can you relate? Can you empathize? Can you sympathize? I didn't make the score I needed to make because my foundation wasn't good enough. And if I had went back and took those classes, my foundation would have been better. But my mom was like, nah, I ain't paying for you to go back and take those classes. So I could have probably ended up doing it myself. But then when I was in that same program, I shadowed like maybe 25 doctors one summer. And I don't know why, but it was some of the most boringest things I had ever done. Like the most boringest shit I had ever done.
yeah,
So I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, like sometimes in life, God be telling you this shit ain't for you by
yeah,
making this shit like a damn near like impossible task. Like
yeah.
he literally made it impossible because it's not for you. Like I relate everything to basketball. It's guys
Mm-hmm.
that I used to hoop against that literally still hoop to this day. They hoop overseas, they hoop here, and they wanted this trial for this NBA team, this trial for this G League team. This shit never worked out because it never was supposed to happen to you. It's just God
Yeah.
telling you, like, I got something planned for you, but this ain't it, and you trying to force it.
Now, do you feel like that at that point that they should always stop, or do you feel like that it's just a moment that you know? So, like we seen a couple of players go overseas, come back, be able to get into the NBA. I don't know too
Yeah,
many, but there have been a few.
yeah. I mean,
Well, I take that back. I stand corrected. There ain't really that many of
it
them. You know
ain't
what I
that
mean?
many, but I will say this,
Yeah,
like, I'm not no person to tell nobody, hey, don't go after their dreams. But
yeah,
if you
yeah,
get to a certain age and this shit ain't panning out, it's time to give it up. Like if
yeah,
you're a
yeah,
rapper,
yeah,
like you get into a certain age, that shit ain't panning out. It might be time to give it up, you know. But
yeah. Let it fly.
exactly. But I would say I probably I would probably say I gave this up prematurely because I definitely had the intellect to do it. But I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't for me more so because I literally shadowed every doctor and I didn't enjoy it, as well as the fact that I'm a serious person, but I'm not that serious. So I don't want to be the most
Yeah,
important person. I want to be an important person, but not the most important person to walk in here because I don't take shit
yeah,
that serious enough for somebody to be like, oh, well, we need Nick to do this. I don't want to be that guy. It's like you being at
yeah,
you want to be
yeah,
at work, you want to be important, but you don't want to be too important to where now y'all stressing me the hell out. I'm too important. So
yeah.
I knew that about myself after a certain age. So I ended up so I ended up taking some prereqs at Hines for PT. and then I start turning in my applications, and I got accepted into St. Augustine, Florida. I got accepted into Nova Southeastern, that's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Then I got accepted into Hampton University, that's in Hampton, Virginia, and that's where I ended up going. I didn't apply to UMMC at first because I had missed the deadline. So, and that was an
Okay.
error, but I'm gonna end up going back there anyway. So I go to Hampton,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of things about Hampton University that they didn't explain before I got there. But I
Yeah.
ain't gonna use that as an excuse. Really, the real issue is like when you taking on an enormous task like that, you need a legitimate. Me personally, I needed a legitimate support system around, like physically
Yeah.
around. You need some normalcy. When you navigating a new state, this high level doctorate level program, and it's like was really intense. And I think at the time I was 23. You still a child. You're 23 years old, you
Yeah.
still a child. So I ended up making two B minuses, which you couldn't make two B minuses. And they was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, well, you gotta sit out a year because you made two B minuses. Mind you, the 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 class size of my beginning class was just 24 students. And after the
Mm.
first semester, maybe it was down to 17, which is crazy. You would think with a smaller class size, more people would do well, but the
Yeah.
program was set up for you not to do well. It was set up for the to weed out everybody until
Yeah.
you had some people left. I ended up lasting a year. I some 7 people ended up leaving after the first semester. I ended up lasting a year. So I moved back to Mississippi, which was a very humbling experience. You living in Virginia for a year, then you move back to Mississippi, and everybody like trying to see, what the hell you got going on? Like, why you back here? This, that, and the third. And you also back with no degree. So now you gotta find a
Yeah.
job. So now,
Mm-hmm.
I think I worked at Target for like 2 weeks. I told them fuck them because I mean that just it was too depressing. You
Couldn't
already
do it.
depressed and
Yeah.
now you working at
Yeah.
Target.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then, and ain't nothing wrong with working at Target. It's just that the decline from going to physical therapy school for to earn a doctorate to working at Target within a few months expense is like, insane. So
Yeah, I think that would make anybody go a little crazy. And I mean, like you said, ain't nothing wrong with working at Target, but when you have these goals that's attainable and little things derail you off path, it's like that shit is worse than,
yeah,
losing a lotto ticket. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
So I worked at
Yeah.
Target for 2 weeks. I quit that. And then actually, my dad had a great idea that I should probably start teaching high school or teaching school. So
Mm-hmm.
I put in the substitute, but I ended up having to teach the whole year. So while I'm teaching that whole year, it was a great experience, not because I was teaching, but it just gave me a different perspective from that side of the desk, like being a teacher and in relation to a student, as well as it gave me a look into that generation of people, like the type of shit that they
Mm-hmm.
was going through. All this,
What grade was it that you were
I was
teaching?
teaching really 10 through
Oh,
12. Like, so it was
yeah, that
like,
is an experience.
man, grown ass people dealing with shit that I had no idea about. I had a student get murdered in front of the school. Like
Mhm.
all type of stuff, man. It was a different experience. While I was doing that though, I was actually increasing my GRE score because I had already called UMMC and told them the scenarios. When I interviewed there, they thought I had actually just stopped going to PT school at Hampton and just moved back home. But that wasn't the case
Yeah.
because my GPA at Hampton was like a 3.1, and at UMMC that would have been fine having a 3.1. They didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
They long as you had over a 3, you've been fine.
Yeah.
Uh, and so once I got into there, it was a totally. I'm 2 years. I done been through hell and back. I'm more mature, and I know how to study now. See, knowing how to study is something that you really should have learned in like high school and in
Yeah.
college. But college is so different because you have so many different types of courses. You kind of have to hit superficial right here, hit superficial right here, go deep right here.
But I'm seeing that a lot now in today's society because, man, my daughter, she's middle school, and the methods, man. I know I'm in my master program at Alabama A&M now, and when I tell you the methods that they teaching these kids, my daughter at the time when she started elementary was out in Virginia, and when I tell you that they're teaching them write like a full
Uh,
essay, I'm like, oh, okay. She's like a full body. Like I need introduction, three body paragraph, and then the
uh,
conclusion. And I'm like, there's no way. And they needed this in a week. And I'm like, they're teaching them different math methods. They're showing them all the different math methods for percents, algebraic expressions. And I'm just like, bro, we only got taught one method. So that kind of like hit the nail on the head when you said learning your study method. I mean, they're teaching them six different methods, hoping that they grasp one.
yeah, yeah. And
So
and it's interesting because, my father probably don't know the impact of his small words. It's one thing he taught me about studying, which and he don't even know he taught me this. He told me in the army they would make you do stuff like 7 times so that you could remember it. So when it came down to gross anatomy, which every PT school starts off with you doing gross anatomy. So you literally have to dissect a human like a dead person. And so to get to know the organs, all the muscles, all the nerves, arteries, veins, all of that. And then you're gonna get tested on it and all that. But to understand, to know origins and insertions of muscles is the framework for doing well in PT school as well as being a good physical therapist. You got to know where the muscles at. You got to know what they do. You got to know where they attach it and where they originate from. But I literally wrote every muscle, origin insertion, all that shit 7 times. Every muscle in the body, and that means I've done it thousands of times. So
yeah,
and I would do that before every quiz, every test, writing everything 7 times. I got notebooks writing the same thing 7 times. Dry erase board in the library 7 times. And that helped me out tremendously. Like, as well as UMMC wasn't set up for you to fail. It literally
yeah,
had the classes spaced out well enough to provide like a environment that was conducive, an environment that was good enough for you to do well in. Like it
yeah,
really was just a big difference, and that kind of goes into like a deeper reasoning why it was a big difference. Because Hampton is a HBCU, and UMMC is Ole Miss. It's a PWI,
yeah. PWI.
but it was a bigger space, better teaching, better, more money put into it type of situation. And so I ended up graduating from there, and it was just like a big deal. It was a big deal because it was a very expensive but redemptive, redemption type story for myself because I wouldn't have felt right if I hadn't did it.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely understand that. I guarantee that probably is one of the many highlights in your life is being able to say, "Hey, I didn't just go
Right.
straight through. I had to go through some trial and tribulation." Like you said earlier in the episode, is that people want that. They want to know that this person went and they did this and they stopped, and then next thing you know, hey, they had to go back and they had to show that they really wanted this.
Uh-huh.
So you ended up graduating from there, and you ended up also getting a certificate from the Georgia Institution of
Uh-huh.
Technology in 2022, 2023. What prompted you to do that? Was it something that was needed with the job, or there was something that you like, hey, this is something that I can see advancing myself?
I was thinking about changing my whole career as a whole until I found the job that I'm in now
Okay.
because healthcare is like crash and burn type of. During the pandemic, a lot of people got burnt out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I got burnt out. I was doing a lot of home health because it pays well. but it's also home health. You can end up in some shitty scenarios. Like I loved home health because it was freedom. You get to basically ride around all day, but riding around all day ain't that damn healthy, as well as
Yeah.
safe. Because the more you ride, of course, you got a bigger chance of car crashes. You going into
Mm-hmm.
neighborhoods that you might need to be strapped to go into. But I enjoyed
Yeah.
my home health experience and I'll do it again. It was just the fact that I was having to drive so far to start work. Um,
Yeah.
but I was tired. I was tired of not dealing with chilled out scenarios, being lied to by companies on what we gonna do, this, that, and the third, not being properly compensated. You making well, but you want to make more.
Yeah.
So
Especially what you
exactly,
deserve, you know?
exactly, because it all got to balance out. So I was thinking about getting into tech because a lot of people was getting into tech, as well as my wife. She's a firewall engineer, so she's already in the tech, and I hadn't I hadn't really been exposed into tech. So I started getting on Coursera. I started taking some Python little classes and courses and stuff. And I'm like, dang, I done did some of this before once I started doing it. And then I thought back to like some of those programs I was going to as a teenager growing up. I didn't realize at the time they was teaching us, how to code a little bit. So she was like, here goes a program right here. We can pay it, and you go to this, and it'll be good for your resume, and you don't have to have a bachelor's in that to become a data analyst or whatever. You just gotta finish the program and show them projects and shit like that. So I did the program, and then it was tough. Like programming, it would take me literally years to get good enough to probably be good enough for a job. But
Yeah.
I learned a lot in that program. But then, right when I finished the program, I ended up getting the job that I got now. And this job that I got now is so chill, make good money, and right around the corner from my house. And it's just
Yeah.
like I only reason I did this was to find a chill job. If I'm at a chill job and I'm making good money and I'm helping people and I'm chilling, then I'm straight regardless of whichever field I'm in. So
Yeah.
but I do have that certificate just in case I'm gonna need it in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I always tell people, man, I'm a perfect scenario of if you get an idea in your
Yeah.
head and it don't cost you nothing, people always wonder how I'm getting my foot in so much stuff. Whether I'm in the TV show writing, podcast, book writing, streaming, working government. So I just tell people, you get an idea, just go do it, so you never have to
Yeah.
wonder like what if, because that might be the one thing that you find that passion in, and yeah, you never know. So bringing up passion, we switch up the subjects a
Yeah.
little bit. So one thing about you is that you are known for your take on music and hip hop. So starting back with music, was there something that drew you to it? Was there an album? Was there a moment? Was there
Um,
something in your life that just knew, hey, music gonna be my passion?
man, I think growing up, I had an older brother, so I grew up listening to everything that was hot when I was younger. Tupac, Big, Outkast. But I feel like the first time I really was like, damn. Well, it was several times. The first, the two times that I remember be like, damn, like what's this? Was when I heard like Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. Like
Hey,
I heard
come on.
that and I was like, this is so crazy. Like I can't believe you can say this stuff. Like I literally could not believe it. Like the first track, I think it's "Kill You." Like it's
Yeah,
like incredible.
it's diabolical.
I was like, I can't believe it. And also, the first time I heard One Mic, I was like, well, I saw the video first. I
Hmm.
hadn't heard the track. I saw the video and I was like, damn, this is like insane. Like, I had never heard nothing like that. And
Yeah,
my brother had me listening to, Master P, Big Pop. But when I heard that Eminem, when I heard Marshall Mathers LP and One Mic, I was like, damn, I love hip hop now. And so the first album I ever bought was the Eminem Show. And the
Yeah.
Eminem Show, you could put that on right now, and I could probably rap every song. He brought the rawness. He the reason I fell in love with hip hop. Nas ended
Yeah.
up becoming my favorite artist of all time, but Eminem was the reason I fell in love with hip hop because as you age, you mature, and you start to appreciate like the rawness in some. And back
Hmm.
then, hip hop was really, really like raw culture. Now it's kind of like everywhere. Back
Yeah.
then it was still like, yeah, we ain't playing the hip hop shit over here, and that's not acceptable for Megan Thee Stallion to get up here and shake her ass on the stage. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't acceptable. Like we gonna be the first generation of parents probably that have to chaperone our kids' dances and rap songs come on, and we actually okay with it because
Yeah.
our parents they chaperone dances. They was like, y'all kids,
Ain't no
yeah,
way.
yeah, like this is like embarrassing.
What you doing on that wall like that? You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
exactly. Like this is embarrassing. But
Yeah.
my, I would say my music takes debating music starts early. Chastain Middle School, we was debating music. I still remember debating about Nas, 50 Cent, Jay-Z. Middle school, high school, that's all we debating. We debating Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z, basketball, music. That's what we debating
Yeah.
about. And it's crazy. People get paid to debate about music now. And hopefully I become one of those people one day. But yeah, I mean, cause I love it, man. Like I listen to hip hop every day. And now I've expanded things that I listen to as far as I have a big vinyl record collection. So I listen to soul, I listen to R&B, I listen to soft rock. It just depending on how I feel.
So when you think about hip hop nowadays, do you think it serves as a positive thing always in our community, or do you feel like that it brings the negativity? Because I had a debate with somebody the other day, and they was just like, "Man, hip hop it destroys our community," and I'm saying the opposite. I'm like, "Hey, man, you can't get mad about how somebody expresses themselves. Nobody tells someone how to express itself." So how do you feel about it? Do you feel like that it is a bad thing for the black community, or you feel like that it's a positive thing?
Uh, I feel like it's a little bit of both. Think music, you can't tell people how to express themselves via music. But I do say that it's so influential that you got people thinking that certain shit is like realistic.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just like somebody that plays Grand Theft Auto gets inspired to rob somebody at gunpoint because they just
Yeah.
tapped into the game that much. People got to realize the situations that come up in hip hop from some of your greatest artists or stories. Their stories. It's kind of just like I think Tupac said one time, like, you can't talk about a world that's not real, as well as like you have to think about why the world is this way. That's what the music was supposed to do. Teach you about why the world is this way. And the result of the world being that way is me as a rap artist expressing to you about what's going on in my community. But
Yeah.
when the artists don't tell you why, and they just telling you to shoot,
Yeah.
shoot, shoot, rob, 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 kill, kill, kill. They talk about women in a derogatory way. And to the point where women think that's their true nature, their makeup, then yeah, it can become a problem. But I think the responsible artist as well as the better artist knows how to do both. Like it's a
Yeah.
reason why Jeezy made Trap or Die.
Mm.
It really wasn't to tell you how to become a hustler. It was to talk to you about the systematic reason on why trapping or trap or die became a thing. It's to teach you about the
Yeah.
reason. Jay-Z was teaching you about the reason. Okay, yeah, I sold dope, but the prison system took my father. The government pushed cocaine and heroin into the neighborhoods. because this is literally what happened. You got the documentation, you got the articles, you got
Yeah.
all of it. In this era, you still having that, but they're not talking about the systematic reason. And then they don't read enough, so they don't have the vocabulary as well as the lyrical prowess to make it sound eloquent enough. It's all crash dummy shit. Yeah, it's a problem, but the better rappers express themselves in a way to where they teach you why and how. So
Yeah, and I think along with the rapping, I think a lot of rappers now they're doing the ones that we're describing are doing stuff in the
yeah,
community, so they know. Hey, look, they might be talking about like a Glock
yeah,
17 and holding it up, but then they also that same story they describing that they might have been in earlier in their life. They just gave a grant and did a school
yep.
giveaway. So I think that when you combine the two, it makes it more powerful. And like you said, making sure you understand that why. So this all I feel like all of this kind of inspired you to start your podcast, Verbal Intercourse. I don't want people to take a guess at why. So what made you start Verbal Intercourse, and what was the vision behind that?
I think the vision behind it was that I I've always been a creator in some sort as far as like I used to do freelance writing for a website. And after that stopped, I wanted another way to express myself. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
2020, and me and my homeboy Jordan Red, we just started the podcast Verbal Intercourse, which is the title of the classic Raekwon and Ghostface and Nas track, Verbal Intercourse, off of Only Built for Cuban Links, the perfect tape, the purple tape. And so we started it. I just really wanted to have a place to where I can, express myself and talk about things that I feel like was important to me, and so have a place for millennials to get their opinions off. And so that's why I created it. And I'll probably shift focus a little bit, but most definitely, I birthed it that like a lot of every guest, every question, every scheduled person, I wrote it all, I did it all, graphics, I did it all. So I was like the producer and the artist. So I think it's just a dope outlet. I think if you put enough time into a platform and you be consistent with it, I think at some point it's gonna grow enough. And I think everybody needs to be trying to find like things that they like to do and try a way to make money off of it. Like just that simple.
Yeah.
Like, cause we living in a society where you
Yeah.
need multiple streams of income. And cause I feel like my best podcasting is ahead of me. At some point, I'm gonna get good enough to where I make money off of it. Which I used to podcast for a website called Society Row, and I was making money doing that. Um, but I want to get my platforms in a way to the point where I'm making money off of it. So that's ultimately the goal.
Are you open to people coming and buying your podcast? Like, are you looking to be that Shannon Sharp or that Cam Newton or that Joe Budden, where somebody come along and say, "Hey, here's $50 million,
Yeah,
and these are the
yeah,
criteria."
like I'm always down for collaboration in the right way. Sometimes you collaborate and it's like the wrong chemistry. Like if
Yeah.
you collaborating and it's people that have the same passion as you, as well as they willing to listen to your ideas and not just be like a yes man or no man. Just be like, okay, that's a good idea. This is how we execute it. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. I think I'm definitely always down for that. I collaborate in the past, and I'm always open to that in the future. Um,
So when we talk about verbal intercourse for you, I mean, many people can look at your podcast because I've seen them throughout the years when you used to do app
uh,
on there, have artists from Jackson. You provided a platform for many
uh,
people in Jackson. Most notably now, Hakeem Ali, he was on there and you did an interview with him about a year ago. So what was your most memorable moment on your podcast?
I would say I would think creating a podcast, and we did a podcast with Mike Hustle. We shared it, and Master P ended up sharing it. So that was a
Okay.
big deal. I thought that was really dope, you know, for Master P to share the platform. I've had some really great moments creating on there. Really great conversations. It's so many. It's a lot of people that say, "Okay, I'm the best guest you've ever had on the platform." They tell me that, and I'm just like, I've had a lot of great guests, but I feel
Yeah.
like for a platform in Mississippi, we've talked about the most things that you could talk about for a
Yeah.
platform. And what I realized is that even though we've done that, algorithm wise, is not a good idea. Now, if I was on a bigger platform that was already established, like a Breakfast Club or something like
Yeah.
that you can do that. But when you're trying to create a platform, from my experience now, you kind of want to keep it niche until it
Yeah.
grows and then you could branch out. And if I had known that
Yeah.
from the beginning, that is something that I would definitely change. I would have did video from the beginning. I wouldn't have worried about uh up on Apple and Spotify and all of that. I
Hmm.
would have just strictly been YouTube based. Because if I had strictly been
Yeah.
YouTube based, my platform would have been grown. Because a lot of people just used to listen to me. It wasn't no video. Video became more popular after like 2020, 2021. It
Hmm.
was like everybody's video now when podcasting was
Yeah.
just listen.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of came out early when people really, but we didn't really know people that did podcasts. We
Yeah.
we knew podcasts was a thing, but when the pandemic hit,
It wasn't a
yeah,
black
it
thing.
wasn't
I'm
it
be real.
wasn't a
It
black,
wasn't no black thing.
especially, and then we didn't know people that podcast, so we really didn't know how to go
Yeah.
about it. So if I had to change anything about my platform, I think I would have been niche. I would have stuck to talking about one thing, and then as it grows, then you could grow. But I think moving forward, at some point, I'm gonna get back to, because what I'm noticing now, and you might have noticed this too, a lot of podcasts are being done by one person, and they literally just talking, and it's working
Yeah.
out well for them. And I really want to get to that
Hmm.
point where it's just me talking. And I'd be cool to have
Yeah.
somebody like get on a live stream but I'm really liking that because it's something that you can set up on your own. But you're doing a great job. I see how
Yeah.
your platform is like literally growing before your eyes, and you got a nice setup.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And I noticed that too. Is like one of the biggest things I noticed. The first thing, because I'm like being in the military and having a my background security analyst. So I analyze stuff. I look at stuff and I look at all trajectories to see how somebody can
Uh-huh.
come and destroy whatever it is that you're looking at. So the first couple episodes, I noticed I was posting on Facebook long form, and then I post on YouTube. And I looked one day, and on Facebook, I think I had like 800
Uh-huh.
views on the same video that was on YouTube. Called a couple of people, and they were like, "Hey man, you got to funnel everybody to one place, and then you have to use the other platforms with short form to funnel them there." A person gets intrigued by seeing a 20-second clip on TikTok.
Uh-huh.
You cut it off just enough time where they're like, "What the fuck? What the fuck was he about to say?" So that's one thing that I learned. And then I will say, just man, like you said, consistency and just trying to figure out what it is that people want. And
Uh-huh.
like you said, it was hard for me to find black people that were doing podcasts. There's a lot of them out there, but you'd be surprised. Like in your genre that you
Uh-huh.
have, bro, it's not that
Right.
many, and not that many that are doing it in a consistency manner. Like it's a lot of people that try, give it a couple episodes, but I mean, like I said, when I saw yours, I was like, man, he been doing it for a while. He been killing it. He had a lot of guests, and I tell you, the platform that you're on, you've given a lot of people a space to express themselves, and that's a big thing that I wanted to be
Oh
able to
yeah.
do. So, and then you also started another podcast called Black Bookshelf Podcast. What enticed you? We know now that Nick always was fond of reading and being able to learn about the different cultures growing up. But what enticed you to say, you know what? Let me go and do this and show people about the readings that I do.
Well, I was like on YouTube and speaking of niche, I was like, what niche would I like to join that I actually wouldn't be deviating from the person that I actually am? Like that I wouldn't be doing something that's just like totally not me. And I was like, I like to read. So I looked at BookTube, and it's like BookTube is like a lot of people reading books and to be real, I don't even think they actually reading the books. I actually read the books I review. Because if you look at them, they'll be like, yeah, they'll tell you a little something, but it'd be like, oh yeah, I read all these books. Like, come on now. No, you did not. Like,
Yeah. I will say it's some things out there, bro. Like I read what I like to read,
right.
right? But the wifey, bro, them her books. A lot of people like you read, like nah, bro, man. She like a
Hey,
demon,
you know
bro.
what?
No,
And
no
it
diddy,
is
right?
like
She just,
that.
just.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying. A lot of people out there,
Some of these
man.
facts be like
Hey, they
crazy.
questionable.
You be like, bruh, you didn't read all that last week. Like, come on now. But hey, I could be wrong because some books I fly through just like that. But the
Yeah,
thing is I like book talk. I like what I saw. And so I had books around already, and I always buy books. So I just started reading. I was going to just try it out on TikTok. Let's see what TikTok do. So started doing book reviews on TikTok, and it just started like growing, and I see like the more I do it, if I'm consistent with making a book review on TikTok, my page will continuously grow. I just need to be consistent with it on YouTube. And so
yeah,
I'm gonna try to get consistent with it on YouTube, but I enjoy reading, and I enjoy reading books about Black people. So like all of the
yeah.
artists are and some people could say, well, wouldn't that cut you off from the rest of society? It doesn't, because I also read books that aren't from Black people, but I feel like Black authors don't
Hmm.
get exposed enough. And also a lot of people don't see Black men on book talk. So that's why a lot of people gravitate to my page as well, because they like, oh, it's a Black man reading this book. Let me see what he says
Yeah,
about it. Because really popular books that especially Black women like to read are like romance books. But the funny
yeah.
thing about a
Smut
lot of
books.
romance books is that sometimes they far fetched. I've actually been reading some that aren't too far fetched. It's like a pretty dope love story, and they mix in a lot of different things. I like reading Black horror. I like reading anything about Black history. Megger and Merle is a really dope book, especially if you're from Mississippi. It talks about the life of Medgar Evers through the basically through the eyes of his wife,
Mm,
Merle Evers, written by Joanne Reed, who was the Black lady that worked at MSNBC. I just read a book about Jay-Z, written by Michael Eric Dyson. It gave me a different perspective on Jay-Z.
yeah.
It's like, you get,
Was it a good perspective?
I would say, a different one. It was more so like the perspective on like the the how the American dream is set up, like how it's how it looks different for some people. So like it gave me a different perspective
Okay.
on like trap music as a whole. Like, how people,
Okay, but it was still a positive. It was still a positive look on
yeah,
Jay Z.
because what it does is it gives you a perspective in regards to all billionaires have actually done some type of harm to people before they became a billionaire. Like it's just
Yeah,
you can't even acquire that amount of money, and you not
yeah.
without it
Without doing it, it's
without it.
inevitable.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
people would look at Jay-Z as like some type of crack slinging type of person, but ultimately he just ended up using whatever slight advantage he had to gain what he had to gain so that he could turn his negative into a positive. So
Yeah.
it gives you a different perspective on the American dream because our dream is deferred and their hustle looks like the American dream where our hustle looks like they criminalize our hustles. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
The prohibition, bootlegging, all that type of stuff, all the things that these different people have done to gain this amount of wealth. We've only got like a few black billionaires and some of them had to do things to gain that amount of wealth and Jay-Z had to
Yep.
hustle to get that amount of wealth. So, but he's looked at in the bad like, wow, these guys over here are looked at as like, wow, he's such a hard worker. This guy was hard working too. Now, you might not have liked that hard work. It might have been detrimental, but he ended up he deviated from it. He ended up becoming a person that ended up helping the community that he
More than the people that were set up the other
exactly,
way.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it gave me a different perspective. It's a little wordy, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I told somebody that the other day, man. I was like, at the end of the day, they try to rationalize a person going into a bank with a gun, robbing
Right,
the bank, and then you got the same person over here that did money laundry for three times as much, but then they get less years than the person that walked in with a gun with the same amount of damage. I said it's just I said the only reason why that person was more postured to do that crime that was like money wiring is because they're decades
right,
ahead of us. I said you give the black criminal 10 years from now, he gonna be doing the same
right,
thing, but it's because they are so many decades ahead of our culture and we haven't been postured to do that. Not saying we condoning doing crime. I'm just saying that's with everything that happens in
right.
society. We black people are known. We have to work and do our stuff a lot harder in today's
Yep.
society. So which brings us up to the next thing, which is friendship,
Mhm.
bro. Followed you throughout the years, definitely with Facebook friends, and man, you have kept the same circle. Obviously, I see you venture out to different people, but your circle has always been the same. Can you tell us what is some of the key things about maintaining friendship for over a decade?
I think the main thing, cause I got some of my friends, we've been friends for over 30 years. So
Yeah.
I think the main thing is treating your friends like brothers, and sisters. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's really important. I'm really big on friendship. You gotta actually want to be big
Yeah.
on friendship. If you gonna maintain
Yeah.
relationships, you actually gotta want to stay friends. You gotta want to be at each other's biggest moments. You gotta want to celebrate with that person. You gotta want to, if that person having a hard time, you gotta want to be there for them. You know,
Yeah.
it's a very important thing to me. Very important. And so I've always made it a priority. That's why we all friends and they all make it a priority as well. Because we all got things in common is that we all love each other, and
Yeah.
respect each other. That don't mean you gotta agree with everything that person do. I'm not no person to
Yeah.
be like, long as you ain't committing crimes around me, we gonna stay cool. Long
Yeah.
and like real talk.
Now, have like without saying any names, but have you ever had to cut a friend off because they moving too wild
Yeah,
or they just doing stuff that you don't agree
yeah,
with?
yeah. Like you could say your energy can be bad around me, or you could say some disrespectful shit, and I just be like, yeah, all right. Cause you know what I'm saying? If the friendship is like 30 years in, like some of us, we can have a conversation. We can have conversations about what was said. But if it's just like, cause I'm a real chill person. Like if you just like, oh man, I'm in town, man, let's get a drink. Let's hit the cigar lounge. I pull up for sure.
Yeah.
But like I'm a very vibe oriented person. I'm very intuitive to energy around me. Like if I don't like your energy, I'd be like, oh, he tripping today or this, that, and the third. And I let you have your space. You know what I'm saying? Cause shit, I don't know what you
Yeah.
could be going through. A lot of time men don't like to talk, but I'm a great communicator. So if I'm not getting communication, stuff like that, then I gotta figure out what's going on. I think friendship though, to me, is very, very important. And I made it a point for them same people to be in my life, to be important. So I'm very appreciative of, all the homies. That's for sure.
I saw like last couple episodes you had, I think it was a brother-in-law. You had Lene Miles on
Hmm.
there, and you were able to tell her some things that most people would be like, "Hey, that's offensive," or this because y'all friendship. So the question I have about that is, what other ways do you use to deal with the conflict that comes between the disagreements that you and your friends have to keep from like saying, "Hey, I'm cutting you off."
Cutting off is like that's like a last resort. You gotta be to for me to cut you off. You gotta be like real bad, down bad, like a hater. You're not taking care of your responsibilities, like your kids, your house,
Yeah,
shit like that. Like I can't fuck with you off that. But pretty much anything, like I
yeah,
don't give a damn how much money you got in your pocket. I don't give a damn what you doing in life. As long as you ain't committing no crimes, as long as you taking care of your own responsibilities, you and even if you are committing crimes, like long as I can't get in trouble for the shit.
yeah. Ultimate liability. I
Hey,
need to be. I need to be at it like, man. I don't know
yeah,
what they got
yeah.
going. I
Long as
ain't
I
saying
can't get in
nothing, but I
trouble for
don't
the
know
shit,
nothing.
I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
And the reason why I keep bringing up the cutoff part, man, I talk to so many people, bro, and people in life, I don't fuck with them no more. I don't fuck with that no more. Like, who the fuck, man? I stopped fucking with them last week. Like, bro, you were just in
yeah,
Miami, chilling
yeah,
on the beach.
yeah, not,
Like that's wild work. And then the next week, you back with them. I'm like, bro, that's some wild work, bro.
yeah, yeah. People gotta learn how to communicate, man. Like, man,
Yeah,
it been plenty
yeah,
of times me and my partners get into it. You know, especially in the 20s. Like in your 20s, not like in your 30s, you ain't gonna really get into it. But your 20s, your college years, 19, 20, everybody walk around with their chest out. Like
yeah,
everybody, Mega Man, they tough guy, all that type of stuff. You gonna get into it, but at the end of the day, you supposed to be like, my bad. I apologize. Learn how to apologize as a man. That's important.
yeah,
I apologize to anybody. I'm quick. I'm first to do it
yeah,
because I don't want to be the person to say I ain't never communicate that I'm sorry for this shit. At the end of the day, I'm real chill and I'm never in a situation to where I I'm testing your loyalty. That's a big deal.
yeah,
Like you when you having to depend on people to choose you over themselves, like and when you put people in that space, 90% of people gonna choose themselves over you because it's literally myself over you.
yeah. Human
It's
nature.
human nature. People only
Yeah,
gonna choose the other person when it's their wife, their husband, their child. If you keeping it simple with people, hey man, we finna hang out, pull up, or we going on a trip here, you down. Now when you start doing shit like you doing shit like crazy shit, like you doing underhanded stuff and you want me to be a part of it, that's when
I just need you to
yeah,
be here to pick me up at this time.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's when now you walking a thin line.
yeah.
Like I said, man, you treat friends good. You don't cross their paths. You don't try to fool with their women. Like
Facts.
none of that type of stuff. And you don't steal from them. And you can keep your friends. Like you can keep.
Yeah. We think, hey, some people like it ain't
It
that
really
hard,
it
right?
really ain't.
So when we start thinking about the late now in today's society, bro, here in the journey, most people will say, "Hey, Nick has that American. You went to high school, you graduated, you went to college, you graduated, you got the job, you ended up getting
Hmm.
married. How was that? How did you come across your wife? Was that something that was you were looking for, or were you just like, man, I'm Nick, I'm out here, I'm here, I ain't looking for nothing? How did that all come apart?
I feel like around 2019, I was tired of the hanging out with multiple women type of shit. And then 2020 came and the pandemic hit, and then the world was shut down, and then really uh got tired of the women stuff. So I really was like idle. I went I was celibate for like 7 months straight. And like when
Yeah,
I did that, I was celibate for about 7 months straight, and I was like I didn't drink or smoke for like five months straight. And then it that significantly helped me out because early on in the pandemic, people was drinking like damn near every
Mm-hmm.
day because we never seen no
Yeah.
shit like this. Like every day I was literally like, this shit is
That
crazy. Like I've never seen this before. So
like this shit gonna
yeah,
stop tomorrow.
exactly.
That shit didn't stop.
So it was interesting. Me and my wife, we probably been in the same house parties or same gatherings before because she know a lot of the people that I know, but we never really crossed paths because she went to Lanier, I went to Murrah. So, and she went to USM, I went to Jackson State. So we never really crossed paths, but like we knew of each other, but we never had real
Mm-hmm.
conversation. So it's interesting. She shared my podcast like on her Instagram story. And I'm just
Hey, come on.
like I never, I didn't know she was even listening for her to share it. And
Yeah.
so that's how we started the conversation, so I guess I gotta thank Verbal Intercourse Podcast for that. That's
Hey, come on.
yeah. So that's how we started conversation and around August 2020. August 2020. And then we started talking seriously probably in September 2020. So yeah, that's how that
Okay.
came about.
I definitely appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate everybody listening. All right, and if you need anything from me, bro, text message, or I'll make sure you got my number. But text message, email, message on social media. Let me know.